We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Coach T with Chicago Bears 360, back with another live show for you. Listen, we got an exciting one. We got a hot one for you today. We got my man Greg Gabriel on the show, the OG, triple OG. That's what I call him, man. I love Greg, man. So we got him on the program. So let me give you the rundown, man. 30 years NFL scout, 9 years senior scout or director of scouting. Greg also is a writing contributor to Football Talks. I can't read my own handwriting. Writing contributor for Windy City Gridiron. Also board for the East West Shrine game. Listen, I'm just so elated, so excited to talk and go on the program. We got to take these graphics down. I'm gonna get to it, man. I'm gonna get to it in a second, man. Let's take those down for now. But listen, run that title suitcase. Let's get it going, man. Cue the intro, maestro. Let's go.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And just like that, back Bears fans, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Greg Gabriel joins the show. I'm sleepy, Greg. I'm sleepy. I'm old, man. So forgive me for that.
As old as I am, my friend.
Bring the graphic up for it. Let's run that resume, man. Greg Gabriel, I want to read it, man, because I want to get it right. 30 years, man, of NFL scouting experience.
A little more than that now, because I just
I said plus years. So
consulting, but hey, you know.
Yeah, apparently I can't read. 9 years as a scouting director. You're the host of Gabriel Talks Football on the Barroom Network over there with my buddy Aldo. The writer for the Windy City Gridiron and also the East West Shrine game board of advisor. Man, how do you find the time?
Well, there's a few other things I do too. I just don't list them. But you know what? This is what I like to do. You know, it's all I've been involved in this game since I turned 9 years old. Actually, wow. 8 years old, 1959. And you know, I started playing Little League football, and then on to high school, college, minor league football. Then I started working for the Buffalo Bills part-time in 1981, which led to a full-time situation, and that led me to the Giants, to the Bears, to the Eagles, and some other things. So no, it's been rewarding. It's been a lot of fun, but it's what I do. That's all I want to do.
That's living the dream. I always say the people that find a way to do what they love doing, those are my heroes in life. If you can find what you love doing, and you get paid for it, somewhere along the way, man, you winning. You live the dream, winning big time. Listen, we're not gonna waste no time. We're gonna jump straight into it because last week was probably a stinger for us all because we were all kind of leaning in the same direction. I know you and I was. I follow the show on Barroom Network, your show on Barroom Networks. We were all expecting the JF1 to stick around. Kind of what is your reaction to that? Like what first of all, do you think Ryan Poles made the right decision?
Yeah, he made the right decision for him, and he made the right decision for what he thinks is, the best thing for the Chicago Bears, and that's all that matters.
Right.
So he's the man in charge. Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter what the masses think. What's important to him and the people he works for, so that's the McCaskey family, is what he thinks is the best situation for the Chicago Bears going forward. We can disagree, argue all we want, doesn't mean a thing. My feeling is that I felt all along, and I was critical of Justin earlier in the year, and then I started watching tape real closely, and I just thought, you know what? This kid hasn't been coached since he's come into the league, and he's been put in circumstances beyond his control, so we have not seen what he can be.
Right.
Granted, hey, Ryan Poles did not draft him. Ryan Poles doesn't want to wait any longer. That's fine. I get it. But I thought, having been actually at two clubs, because I was director of player development for my last 5 years with the Giants, been in that decision-making chair where you get involved in these things, that I would have rather gone for the Hall.
Right.
Right. And really build up the team. And that's my thought process. I don't really care if anybody disagrees with me or agrees with me. That's right.
Me either.
They want to criticize me. Go ahead. I'm here.
That's one of the things that I appreciate about you, Greg, because I think similarly, right? Because somebody, I think I DM'd you and I told you this, and you gave the classic response to this, right? I did you when somebody grouped us together, and like that's why nobody listens to you and Greg. They grouped us together, and I was like, well, shit, I'm in good company there if they put me like that. I think what people don't understand is, what do you expect us to build our takes off? You know what I'm saying? You 30 plus years as a scouting director, you know what I'm saying? My little, phase of football, but that's the perspective that I come from. That's the niche I come from. What else do you expect us to build, our takes off of? And like that, you live and you live, or you live and die with your take. Like, it is what it is. Like, nope, I don't lose no sleep over this shit. Be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gone. It's time's over. Let me ask you about this, since more to the scouting aspect of it, because we agreed on the Hall was probably that, right? When you look at this roster, right, the Super Bowl is the goal, right? So are we ready to take the swing? And I'll extend it out there and say, not this year, but are we making the swing? Are we ready? This roster ready to make a Super Bowl swing right now? Because if you swing and you miss, then that comes to this whole thing where you eventually over the next few years have to cycle through the roster again, and we're freezing up.
Let me go into this a little deeper, and I only can say what I would do. Okay, given the situation, having worked with Jerry and knowing how he thinks, and knowing if we were sitting in the chair there, what we would probably do. I've said all along, I'd take a quarterback. I just wouldn't take a quarterback with the first overall pick. I know how talented Caleb Williams is. He's very, very talented. But we also know how many quarterbacks have come in to the league with rare talent or excellent talent and failed for whatever reason. And mostly with the quarterback position, they're not failing because they lack physical talent. They're failing because they lack something in the intangibles. And it's more important in that position than any other position in football. I already know, or the team already knows, we already know what the intangibles are with Justin. He's a good person. He's a good leader, extremely well liked and respected by the coaching staff and his teammates. He hasn't lived up to expectations as a player. And I go back to, well, I don't think he's been coached. I still think we're going to find out that he's a good player, but, it's over here, so might as well not dwell on it. But anyway, I think that, trading down and getting a bunch of draft choices, I would have used one of those picks on one of the young quarterbacks only because it's good business. And it has nothing to do with what I feel or don't feel about Justin, but it's good business to stock up with talented quarterbacks. Teams that do that always have success. So, whether that would have been J.J. McCarthy or whoever, and I'm just throwing names out, not that I like or dislike any of them, that would have been fine, but you still would have had all these other picks to fill up the roster more. Okay, so they made the opposite decision, and it may turn out to be an absolute superb decision. And that's, depending on what Caleb does as a quarter, because they can play the game and go to the LSU workout on Monday, and they can go to the Michigan workout on Friday, but we all know what the decision's going to be. And Ryan would be setting himself up for ultra criticism if he took anybody but Caleb Williams with that first pick right now and traded out of it. So, but because they're doing that, and because they made some trades, there's still needs that they got to fill. They're going to have a solid team. There's no question about that, but there's still weaknesses. The wide receiver core is still relatively weak. You got two great players at the top. But after that, the depth of the position on the team is terrible. You only have one guy who can rush the passer, and that's Montez Sweat. There's nobody else on the outside that gives you any kind of pressure. And Ngakoue didn't work out. It may turn out that you might have to bring him back if they don't end up drafting one. But they don't have a second round pick. They got a third. They got 2 fourths. That's it. They don't, they got 4 picks in the draft, or a fourth and a fifth rather. They got no picks in this draft to do anything. The only way they can do it is trade out a 9. And when you think about that, well, okay, you want to recoup that second round pick. Well, to do that, you're going to have to trade down to about 17, 18 around in there. And then you're taking yourself out of a layer of good players where there's a drop off. And so is that the right thing to do? Because what you're getting then for your second first round pick isn't going to be what you could get at 9. So probably if they wanted to trade back, you only trade back a few spots and you pick up a third. Now you've got 2 thirds. You still don't have a second. And it still kind of limits you what you can do, especially in the edge position, because the depth of the edge class is really terrible this year. So, and I wrote about this the other day in Windy City. You've got real good guys you can get in the first 20 picks. There's 4 edge players. After that, there's a big drop off. There's guys that could turn out to be pretty good pros, but you have no assurance. There's question marks on them. And so, do they trade down to make sure they get one of those top 4 edges and possibly pass on a good receiver? Now, I would think if one of the top 3 receivers are there, they're too good to pass on. But reality is, it doesn't matter what we think, it's how their board is set up. And they're going to go off of their board. So if they got an edge player rated higher than, say, the number 3 wide receiver, regardless of what we think, they're going to do what they want to do and who they have as the highest rated player. We're never going to know what their board's going to look like. That's always going to be kept quiet. But the depth of the wide receiver class is so good that you can wait until the 3rd round, and you're going to get a guy in the 3rd round this year that probably would have gone in the 2nd round last year. And because the depth and the quality of the players at that position is so good. So, we're going to have to wait and see, because none of this stuff will happen until draft night. You can trade a number 1 pick or number 2 pick early, but you're not going to trade the 9th pick that early, because the teams that want to come up are going to want to come up for a certain player, And they're not going to know if that player's there until we get to the draft. That kind of makes sense for you, Coach?
I think we lost Coach for a minute, Greg, but
we did.
Yeah. Well, no, that's all right. I was texting him real quick. So okay, you talked about that. So I'll try to move on. I'm trying to figure out what he wanted to ask you, but what do you think about? So I know you said that they possibly could trade back at the 9th pick and possibly pick up 2/3. But what would you do?
No, they'd pick up 1/3. They already have 1/3.
Oh yeah, they have 1/3.
So they'd have 2. Now here's a thing you could throw up. I'm throwing darts at the wall.
Yeah.
Stuff that is totally conceivable. You could find a way to get into the second round by using that one of those 3rd round picks. And you're not going to get into the top half of the round, but you're going to get into the bottom half of the second round if you want to do that. But you're going to have to use a pick from next year. And maybe you're going to have to use, 2 second round picks next year. So maybe you got to gamble. If there's a player you really are driven to take, say, you know what, this guy can really help us this year. I'll give up one of those 2s next year in order to get into the second round this year and select a guy. But again, you got to see how you're not going to know some of this stuff until you get to Friday of draft weekend and see how it falls and see if players are there. So you can prepare for it, but you can't pull the trigger on it until you know who's there.
Right, yeah, because it's probably gonna be a lot of changes. Some people are gonna slide.
There's always going to be surprises. There's
Right.
going to be there's always is several draft trades, and as soon as the first one comes up, then that changes everything because say a surprise player is getting taken in a certain area. So you just got to have a plan. And any draft I've been involved in, we don't try to place certain players with certain teams. All we tried to figure out is who's going to be there when we pick. So, and you can do that by just doing a lot of research. And let's just throw out a number. Let's say you got the 18th pick. You're going to figure, okay, 13 or 14 we're positive 13 or 14 players are gone. These guys. And so now we can get a guy from this group. And then you may have you have a list of 4 or 5 players that you prioritize. We take this guy first, this guy second, this guy third, this guy fourth. And, if they're all still there, you take the guy at the top of the list, and so on. I mean, we did that, going back years ago in the 4th round when we took Nate Vasher. I think we had around the 8th or 9th pick. We had 6 players that we really liked. And back then, the draft was Saturday and Sunday. So the first 3 rounds are on Saturday and 4 through 7 was on Sunday. So we got like the 8th or 9th pick on Sunday. There's 6 players we like, and we prioritized them. I think Nate was number 2 on that list. And so we're waiting. And I'll tell you, they all came off. And those first 6 or 7 picks, the only guy left was Nate. It's a good thing we had him rated 2, and he ends up, becoming a Pro Bowl player and a hell of a player for the Chicago Bears. But you got to, have these conversations and do this preparation for it to work. You don't make the decisions on draft day. You make it well before in your meetings leading up. I equate it to during the week, you practice and install a game plan for your game on Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing on the week, 10 days leading up to the draft. You're practicing, going through your scenarios, preparing a plan for the draft, and you execute that plan on the day of the draft. If you sit and wait till Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to make decisions, you're shit out of luck, man. You're in trouble because now you're reacting, and you can't react. You got to anticipate, and you have to be ready. And I've always said this, that you have to expect the worst case scenario, no matter where you're picking. Now with the first pick, that's a different story because you're getting the pick of the litter. But anywhere else, you're going to say, okay, I got, I'm picking at 9. These are the guys I like. You got to anticipate that the last guy you like is going to be the guy there. And if you're good taking that guy, then you're okay. And if you're not, then it's like, no, I want to get out of it. But you got to let teams know before that you may want to get out. You don't do it that day. You do it that day, it's too late. So, like, the draft's on Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday of draft week, you'll call along and you'll say, you draw a line in the sand of how far back you want to go. And you'll call up those teams and you'll say, hey, look at guy we like might not be there. If that's the case, we may be willing to move. I just want to let you know. That's all you say.
Right.
And you hang up the phone, leave it alone. Come draft day, your phones will bring it off the hook. Always is. But you got to let teams know that you might, if you don't let them know that you might be willing to move, they ain't going to call you.
Right. So it's to be pretty much it's a true war scenario up in there. Like it gets pretty wild up in the draft room on draft day. Moves being made.
But if you're prepared, it's fine.
Right.
And the best teams are prepared. Just like I say, expect the worst. If you expect the worst, you're in great shape.
So I missed your answer on whether we were ready to make that swing, that Super Bowl swing. But
they've already made the decision. They're not taking the Hall, so they're going with Caleb.
Right.
Okay. Anytime you go now people will say, well, look what Stroud did. Well, the last time that happened was 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, you can't say that that's a given, regardless of the talent that's here. And he's got some pretty darn good offensive talent around him. He's still got to play the game himself. Circumstances just evolved right for C.J. Stroud in Houston, and he played very well. The team played very well. They didn't get killed with injuries, and things just all came together. And on top of that, they're playing with the last place schedule, and that helped. The Bears are doing that this year. So now it's how quickly will Caleb really be ready to play? I mean, hey, game one, whoever they're playing, he's going to be under center, taking the ball, right from the start of the game. So he's got to be ready from the standpoint of his ability to do it. There's no question he has that.
Right.
So but still, it's a rookie. It'll be his first NFL game, first month of the season, his first time he's going through teams. You know what happens. You're going to throw the book at the kid.
Right.
Defensive coordinators are going to test the hell out of him. He's just got to be mentally prepared, and he's got to be ready and prepared to handle adversity because he's going to see it.
Right. Jalen Johnson went on the record for saying that, right? Somebody asked Jalen Johnson the question of, how does it go? How are you going to be received in this locker room? How will it be for Caleb, the presumptive number 1 pick and Bears quarterback? How will it be when he steps into that locker room? And Jalen Johnson didn't mince words with it. He's going to have to earn it. He's like, we're going to test him. This part of, and I think people that didn't play ball or doesn't experience it or coach it, they don't understand it. The locker room has its own way of sorting its way out. Like it's a
caste system, Coach.
Right.
And you're coming in, you're the low of the low. I don't care if he's the first pick of the draft or the last pick in the draft. He's still a rookie, and they're going to have him do rookie things. And he's going to have to put up with the bullshit that rookies put up with. The hazing, the teasing.
You're going to have to carry some helmets.
Everything. Sing songs, make a fool out of himself. It's all part of being a rookie.
Right.
And if you don't react well to that and play into it and laugh at it, they're going to come at your ass.
Yeah, they're going to come harder.
That's how you earn their respect.
Right.
And I have been around the locker room where we had a rookie that the veterans didn't want, and it didn't work, and it was ugly. That was Seth Benson, because the veterans were set on Thomas Jones.
Wow.
Thomas Jones and they were there together, on the team, and it was screw you, rookie. This
tweeted,
is our man.
I tweeted that yesterday. Just a reminder, and I know we probably met with some, hey, you're just being a hater. You're not over the Justin Fields thing yet. I tweeted that yesterday. It's not automatic. And again, guys, we try to take you inside these experiences. No locker room in any level is automatic. And formulating a team is not automatic. You're talking about all these alpha male personalities, getting them together. And then we made so many changes on offense. Like, I hope we do the Hard Knocks, because we'll get a chance to see this kind of play out for the fans to see that, hey, it's not a given. You come in the locker room, you know what I'm saying? You have to earn your stripes. You gotta put in the work. You gotta do all that thing. You gotta ingratiate yourself to all the alpha dogs on the team. And then, Flus has the monumental task of making these guys one unit, one band, one sound, so to speak, so they can go out there and compete. What are your thoughts on that, Greg?
No, you're right. The veterans are going to test a rookie, and it's not just going to be Caleb. It's going to be the guy who gets drafted after him, and the guys after that, and the undrafted free agents. I remember, this goes back a while, and the guy who was the development guy who had to take the players during the OTAs, the rookie players, and take them through rookie school and stuff. So he goes up to Olin in the weight room, and he says, Olin, the rookies meet with me every day after practice for an hour. Will you talk to the rookies? And Olin just looked at him and said, are you fucking kidding?
Wow.
Because they're rookies. None of those guys are going to be here. When they make the team, I'll talk. Until then, they got to earn their spurs.
Do me a favor, Julius. Take his Greg's resume down so we can bring up some comments. Somebody asked a great question, and I want to capture this comment real fast as we're going through it. We're gonna do a little bit out of order today. It says, Justin asked, will the Chicago bring a vet quarterback in to help Caleb along?
Based on what they've done so far, I don't think so.
Right.
They signed a guy who's been in a few camps. I know for a fact that they really like, I'll put it this way, the old offensive staff really liked Tyson Bagent, and so did the front office.
Right. So
I got to assume that Shane Waldron and his guys are going to like him too. The guy started 4 games as a rookie, won 2 of them. So, he did what a backup's supposed to do, coming from a Division II background. So, no, I don't see them going out and having to spend money. First of all, who the hell's out there?
Right.
And why retard the development of Bagent? And why possibly retard the development of Caleb? Just go with what you got. If you're uncomfortable with, you're going to go into the offseason program, starting in another 3 weeks, the new coaching staff, the new offensive coaching staff feels uncomfortable with him, well, then it's a different story.
Right.
After working, then they're going to say, we need somebody. And then you may have to go out and find somebody. But
last minute, right.
Yeah. But when you do that, it's costing you money too. And, now you're getting to a point, there's $21 million left in the cap. Now you can there's contracts that, guys like Sweat and that were signed last year to big contracts. You can finagle those numbers a little bit to create cap space, turn some of the salary into bonus money. Everything, as far as the player goes, everything remains the same. It's just how the accounting goes. So you can create more cap dollars. It's real easy to do. But still, I don't think they're done with free agency. I think we're going to find out, still over the next month. It'll give us an idea of what they might want to do at 9. And what I mean is, if they go out and sign another halfway decent receiver, and the receiver pool, veteran receiver pool, has hardly been touched yet, where everything else is like there's no more edge players left, but there's still a lot of good receivers. Not a lot, but there's probably at least a half a dozen, good receivers out there that can be a solid number 3. If they go out and sign one of these guys, that's telling you right now what we're doing with that second first round pick.
Right.
That's
right.
We're going with an edge player. You know, so what you do prior to the draft always leads to what you're going to do during the draft.
It's a hint to where we're going. Greg, I know the Caleb stands are taking their victory lap. You know what I'm saying? I tweeted yesterday that the sting is over of losing Justin Fields, but and congratulations to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's a true lose in this situation unless we don't make it to the Super Bowl. But the rest of my takes stand in pat, right? It stand in place. I wanted to keep Justin Fields, but my criticism of Caleb, and I've been misquoted, and I think some of the local and national folks have picked up on the take, and they've misquoted, is not that he doesn't play in structure. My criticism of Caleb, or concern for Caleb right now that he's going to be a Bear, is this. Riley offense has him running air raid, RPO, pass concepts at a percentage to 70-75%. Now, when I said it early. Ryan Leaf came along and threw that number out there and I almost fell out my chair. 75% of what he did in college, he won't do in the NFL. And there's Jayden Daniels there that has NFL progression reads at 90-something%. What do you feel about that? You know, that system and him translating, and the finished part of the take is this. I'm being fair. Some people are saying we need to make the playoffs now. We got to win the Super Bowl yesterday. I'm saying it's still going to take them coming out of that offense about 18 to 26 games if Shane has them on a good program to slowly ramp them up into a true NFL progression style offense. What do you think about? When I bring people on the show, a lot of people don't realize this, and those that hang out for a while know, I bring them on the show to give, if they have a different opinion of that take. What do you think about the translation of that RPO stuff, where he did it about a 75% clip, to the NFL? Well, they can go physical, bump man coverage, and knock you out of that 1-2 read stuff. And now you have to go through your progressions. How do you feel about the not if he can do it, but the timeline of how long it's going to take him to get to where he needs to go?
I think my answer might not be what you want to hear. I don't think it's a big deal. And they would have, and I would think that right now they already have a pretty good idea or good answer to your question. And that's because they a lot of the stuff that people thought were going to happen on a 30 visit, it's already done. They did it out in LA. They spent hours with them on Tuesday in the classroom, board work, doing installation, everything that you would do either in a private workout or on a 30 visit, that's done. And with that, you're finding out how he thinks, how quickly he can pick up. Because what you do in these things, when you get in these classrooms, you do two things. And I've sat in these meetings before, so I know exactly how they work. But first thing you're going to do, you're going to give down, say, okay, Caleb, draw up a couple of your plays, 2 or 3 of your favorite plays, and basically dissect it. Tell me what the line's responsible for, who's making the line calls, is the center doing it, or do you got to change the protections? What's each of the receivers doing? What's his route? Is it an option route or whatever? Who's your number 1, number 2, number 3? How you go through the progression? Totally walk the Bears coaches through the play. Now you're going to do this 2 or 3 different times. So that's going to give them a good idea of his understanding of the offense he was in. And trust me, there are some guys that can't do it. They're because some of these college offenses are really so simple that they don't really understand the total concepts. So then when they get done with that, again, that gives you an idea how he thinks. Now they're going to say, okay, now we're going to give you a couple of our plays.
Right.
And you're going to install, say, 3 of those plays. Have them take notes. Coordinators up there on the board. One might be a run play, a couple pass plays. draw up, okay, and you know, depending on what the defense is, you're going to go here, or whatever. Take them through the progressions, and you're hoping the guy sits and takes notes, and you're you know, somebody in the room's watching to see what he's doing. So then you change the subject, go on to something else just to relax him a little bit. Then a few minutes later, you come back. Hey, come on up to the board. Play one I gave you. Draw it up and tell me everything that's going to happen. So now it's like, okay, how quickly did he learn? How quickly did he retain? And how quickly can he draw it up and be accurate with it? Or is he going to be like totally out in left field? And if he does what they hope he does, they've already got the answers. They've spent that time to find that out. And that's going to lead them into knowing, well, this is just from that. And, you know, it's only a few hours, granted, but it gives you a pretty good idea of the type of person you're working with. And how their ability to learn and retain is, what their intellect is, how quickly they process what they're learning. Now, a lot of times when you have a private workout with a quarterback, not only do you do it on the board, then you take them out on the field and say, now we're going to do it again. You know, but under a pro day, you can't do that because pro days are totally scripted. And the coach, as you saw, no coach is involved. No NFL coach was involved in that workout yesterday. It's strictly his quarterback group.
All right. So I got a quick comment and a few questions from the chat. My guy, longtime subscriber, Yada said Caleb would be fine. Listen, as y'all know on the program, if I have a concern and it's on film, I'm not going to resolve it until I see it resolved on film. So I'm telling you, I'm going into the season, and I appreciate Greg's perspective on that. And you're right. I believe they do. I have faith. I'm optimistic that the Bears, Shane Waldron, they have a better program than Luke Getsy had for Justin Fields to, again, slowly ramp him up into this offense. The best example that I've seen in recent memory was the job that Matt LaFleur did with Jordan Love. And slowly, every week you saw him add a little bit more to that offense. But 1-7 Bears asked Greg, do you think we should go left tackle instead of DN because I don't trust Braxton Jones?
Yeah, well, the front office and the coaching staff doesn't agree. They love Braxton Jones.
I agree.
And Braxton, let me tell you something about Braxton Jones. And people forget this. And I've said it on my show a number of times, probably so much that it drives people crazy. Braxton Jones has not good traits. He has elite traits. There's not a tackle in this draft that has the natural physical athleticism that Braxton Jones has. Not one. Okay. He's got length. He's got speed. He's got change of direction. He's got quick feet. His problem when he came out and what he did is actually remarkable. He went to one of the worst FCS programs in the country, Southern Utah. I mean, it's the low of the low in the of all the different FCS schools in the country. Not great coaching. They don't have a lot of talent. They got their rear ends kicked every week. And, you know, how good he got coached, we don't know. So everything we saw, like when he went to the Senior Bowl, was just natural. What he had, the raw traits that he had. He came in, he was strong in the upper body. You saw that at the combine. I think he did, or his pro day, he did like 26 or 27 reps at 225, which for a guy with 35.5-inch arms is damn good.
Talk about that. Hold on. We got to talk about that because a lot of people miss out on that. I'm a long arm guy, right?
Straight now.
I'm a long arm guy, and I still rep 225. Probably not what I was getting 2 years ago, but a lot of people don't realize how hard it is for a long arm guy to rep 225 versus what you got.
They're pushing the weight farther,
right?
You know, so you got a guy with 32-inch arms versus a guy with 35.5-inch arms. You know how far he's. Yeah, it's 3 inches. Well, you know what? It's just a lot harder to do, but you want your tackles to have long arms. You can get away with shorter arm guys inside. Olin Crooks had 31.5-inch arms. You know, short arms. But tackles and defensive ends, you got to have length. But anyway, getting back to Braxton. So he comes from this poor program. His upper body was fine. His lower body was underdeveloped. Yet and did he get pushed around because of that? Yep. Did he have problems with his anchor as a rookie because of that? Yep. But he didn't miss one snap. He played every single snap as a rookie. What does that tell you what this coaching staff thinks of him?
Right.
And it's not like they gave him the job game one. They gave him the job back in OTAs. Right. They saw it right away. And so now it was just let this guy catch up to where he should be. Had he gone to Notre Dame or Alabama or Texas or someplace like that, and so it was going to take some time. Last year in the offseason, he worked with Olin at Olin's gym, getting ready, up until OTAs to the off-season program started. He increased his lower body strength. It was very noticeable last year. Was it still where you want it? Not quite, but it will be this year. He's had now 2 years and he's still a young kid, 24 years old? So he's got what he's got physically, you can't teach.
Greg, as we transition to this next question, I got to give a huge shout out to Brandon Lawson, who's our first ever member of the Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T, member of the channel. So this is you coming on, Greg, and helping us make history. We're a new channel for the most part. I'm not like your boy Aldo over there, 10 years in the game. So Brandon's comment said, listen, these are two of my favorite Bears personalities, and became a member. So I want to shout Brandon out. On the heels of that, Greg, I got a question for you, because obviously Ian, Ryan, and Simo are aligned on their ability and how they scout O-line talent. And I've asked myself the question about this, and I really couldn't come up with an answer. This is one I'm truly perplexed about. Do you think, because I believe because they're former offensive linemen, they believe in their ability to identify O-line talent better than any of the other 31 teams in the NFL. Do you agree, and do you see like a challenge with that in theory?
Well, they both played it played the position in college. We when I was there, we brought in Ryan as an undrafted free agent. He had a draftable grade, but he wasn't good enough to play in the National Football League. But very, very intelligent guy. I don't know that much about Ian as far as his background as a player, but he's another guy that was obviously an offensive lineman. But what they're doing is they've decided that they're going to be predominantly an outside zone team. And that means that you've got to have athletic offensive linemen. So, like last year, you had a bunch of fans saying, well, they should go after Orlando Brown in free agency. Wrong. Orlando Brown can't play in this scheme.
Right.
He doesn't have the athleticism. It's not taking anything away from Orlando Brown as a player. He's just not a fit. So, but if you look between the first draft and then last year and what they've done in free agency, they sign athletic guys. Okay, guys who can play within this scheme. Ryan Bates is a good example. A lot of fans are down on him. They don't know him.
Right.
They'll find out. Extremely athletic guy. Mm-hmm. Braxton Jones, when you see him in space, there's very few people in the league that can do what he can do in space. Same thing with the first round pick last year. It's for a guy that was like 330 pounds, he can frickin' move.
Right.
And so when they look for guys, the first thing they're looking for, obviously you want growth, you want size and length and strength, but you're also looking for that athleticism, because if they can't play within the scheme, then you're just wasting your time.
Right.
So, and that's key. Like they were Simo was at Notre Dame today. and he worked out Alt. And Alt, Alt was a tight end in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to Notre Dame, the first 4 games of the year, he was a tight end as a freshman. And then the starter went down in the first game. So then they put a second guy over there. He goes down, and then they had to move Alt from tight end to tackle. And he was only like 265 to 270 as a freshman. And he starts them the last 2/3 of the year at left tackle for Notre Dame. And now he's close to 320 pounds. But, he's got the genes too. His dad played forever in the league.
Right.
That helps him. But if he wasn't a fit to play in this scheme, SEMO wouldn't be going there to work. Now, does that mean they're going to draft him? No, he's in the mix. He's got to be in the mix because that's where he's going to be rated on the board. But you're going to have you're going to prioritize players. And it's like, okay, this is the guy we want first. This is the guy we want second. This is the guy we want third. And then, if you strike out on some of the others and you don't want to trade down, then you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to take Alt with this pick. But they're going to, I would think that the writing's on the wall that if it's not a receiver, it's going to be an edge player. So watch it be a linebacker. But
right. That never goes as planned, right?
Right. But you just, what I always do, and I did this my whole time in the league, is you got to study your opponents and study how they, study what they've done and study what they did previously, where they come from. What are the teams? So take Poles. You look, he spent his whole career with Kansas City. And so you look at what Kansas City drafted while he was there. And really, you just don't go back to when Pioli was there, but since Andy Reid got there. And because that's when Ryan was really starting to grow in his career. Do you know how many times Andy Reid took a receiver in the first round in that time frame?
I have no clue.
None.
Wow.
When he took them? Second round. But that, and having worked with Andy for a year, I know he just doesn't believe in it.
Oh, wow.
It's like you've got core positions.
Right.
And at Kansas City under Andy Reid, even though receiver is really important, it's not the position that you take with that premium pick.
Did Andy have TOPTSD, or was that just a coachingism? That because I don't like centers and tackles that's rookies. Sometimes coaches just have their things, right? Rookie.
Well, he brought in a center a couple years ago. It was pretty darn good. But I think they drafted in the second or third round. Kid from Tennessee.
I know the profile for inside zone, mid zone, and outside zone is, and I didn't understand this until I really thought about it, is they go for more bulk on the interior offensive line, and then they try to get guys more agile on the corner so they can run pin pull and they can run the screen game and all that other stuff. So that aligns with what you're saying. I want to switch over to this defense because I think
the way that a couple more minutes left here because I got some things I got to do, my friend.
Absolutely. I got one more question for you. I'm just going to ask you to describe what you think about this defense overall, because I believe they have to play a certain style early on for this football, allow that ramp up period for Caleb, right? So for Caleb, the ultimate get where he wants to be, we got to play defense and run the ball and kind of control the clock and don't really put too much on the kid early on. Do you think with the addition of a defensive end edge rusher that this defense can hold down the fort while Caleb, gets his sea legs, so to speak?
You got to think so. I mean, the defense the last half of the season played pretty darn good. You've added people. You added the safety who actually is better than Eddie Jackson, better football player, better for this scheme than Eddie, more physical player, as good of an interceptor as Eddie was. This guy's better. Age-wise, experience-wise, they're the same. the only, getting Jalen back was huge. I think their corner group is as good as there is in the league. I'm not going to say it's the best, but their overall depth, and now you're getting guys into their second and third year, so that they played a lot as rookies. So they're going to be that much better. The only thing they don't have as of right now today is an outside pass rusher opposite Tez. And, you think, well, they were going to probably try to do it in free agency, but they didn't. So what's that tell you? And there was guys out there, but they didn't want to pay the money. And, knowing how they think on some of that stuff is they set a ceiling on players. So, say the guy from Minnesota ended up going down to Houston, and he got, when you look at the deal didn't average $30 million a year. And you say, well, hell, they could have got him. It's more like $27 million a year, $26.5 million a year. But the guarantees in the first year were real high, with Hunter. And so it's like, we're not paying that. They set ceiling.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would have been.
And you'll go to a certain point. And then when it gets above that point, you walk away. And you got to do that for the good of the team, for the good of the future. Because when you get caught overpaying, that's what happened with Ryan Pace. He got caught with too many bad contracts.
Greg, I gotta get you out of here, but the fans would hang me by my toenails. This is a tradition on the program. It's called the Drunk Uncle segment. And what the Drunk Uncle segment is your opportunity, whether it's Bears official, national, local media, it's somebody maybe on Bears X or Twitter. You give out the Drunk Uncle of the Week award. So I'm gonna set it up via the segment.
Do that, man.
Come on. It's tongue in cheek, Greg. This was what I was waiting on, right? So I'm gonna give you a minute. We gonna
set. What do you mean? The bad guy of the week?
It could be tongue in cheek, like somebody that's irking your nerves. It could be me. Hang on one second. I'm gonna let you think about it while we run this intro, and we're gonna come back and give out the Drunk Uncle award.
You get like some crazy. Anything is possible. Got feelings in my cup. I see everything in double. Got 2 blunts. I'm rolling up. Did you get like some crazy DMs or what?
Oh yeah, they drunk, so we got to give them an award. This is my way of this is the clap for. I know. You got people that irk your nerves out there. It could be all the Bears X at Twitter, but it's your opportunity. You got the stage.
The entire radio media in Chicago.
Hey,
they're awful. And you know what? It's not just Bears. It's every damn sport. They live on negativity.
Wow.
And it's, you can't do that. Everything is about the negative and nothing's about the positive.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I don't care if it's hockey, basketball, the Sox, the Cubs, the Bears. They push the negative. And one of the producers at the Score is a good friend of mine. I had a conversation with him. He said, "You're darn right." He goes, "I hate it, but that's right. That's what they want to do."
Right. So there you have it, folks. The Drunk Uncle of the Week. If you have it, I was waiting. That was one I had to slide that one in because I was personally waiting on that for Greg. Because listen, man, y'all got us. People so sensitive nowadays. I appreciate like when somebody tells it like it is. I don't know, what it is, but maybe it's the Marine in me. I just like when people tell it how it is.
Look, either way, you're a Marine now.
Yeah, man. I to my core, man. So listen, Greg, I appreciate you joining the program. We're gonna keep going because, of course, I got a few things to talk about and kind of button up with the fan base here. But you're welcome to come back anytime. Of course, I'm supposed to come over and spend some time with my guy Aldo at some point during the off season. But happy draft to you, safe health to you, and You know what I'm saying? Let's keep them on their toes out there on X land.
Friends, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
There you have it, folks. Greg Gabriel. All right, man. So Bears fans, listen, thank you for tuning in, tapping in. Listen, we got a few more things I want to hit on before I get out of here. By the way, shout out to my producer back there, Julius Span, doing this thing. Listen, we're ramping up the show. Also, shout out to my creative director of creative design, J2K in the building, Jeremy in the building, in the chat, handling down things. Listen, we growing the program. We're bringing you the hottest guests. Y'all saw me tweet out, man. Your boy Lawrence Holmes is coming on the show April 11th, I believe that is. Next week, we have Greg Braggs, a friend of the program, on the show. You know me and Greg always get into it. Listen, we gonna have words behind this Justin Fields trade, and you know what I'm saying, him rubbing it in our face after it was done and complete. So Greg, you can stand by for next week, buddy. It's gonna be a little bit of friendly smoke. But listen, man, I want to talk about this real fast too, because I clipped it up, so I got to get into it, and I'll get a chance to kind of talk with the chat a little bit about that. But I want to play this real fast and talk about it. And it has really nothing to do. It's not so much about Justin Fields, but it's about the state of quarterback play in the NFL and where the NFL is transitioning to. And I really got it on my mind, so I want to talk about it. I want you to hear this clip. Don't hear the Justin Fields part, but hear what Caleb is saying about, you know, what these young quarterbacks are having to endure now that they come in the league. And this applies to Caleb Williams too, because whether you like it or not, you know what I'm saying, we have a more impatient league now, and there's high expectations. And the way Cam framed it right here is something I never heard of before. Basically, that you are a CEO and you basically have to lead. You have to lead up and you have to lead down as a quarterback in the NFL. I never heard this before, but I want y'all to check out this clip, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Fields is finding out firsthand that this is a business. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it hasn't been in his favor, and it wasn't up to him to get traded. Like, it was a collision course. It was about to be a train wreck. Hell, his experience there was a train wreck. He stated. Multiple teammates have stated, you know, they wanted Justin to kind of stay. And I think, you know, not just the Chicago Bears, but a lot of organizations are feeling the heat. And you really only got 2 to potentially 3 years to show you're good. Because the NFL has changed. Mm-hmm. We're not allowing players to develop anymore. We're trying to sell jerseys. We're trying to win football games. We're trying to win the Super Bowl yesterday.
I thought that was important. I want y'all to hear something, right? This is not about Justin Fields. Like I told y'all, this thing is gone, man. Shout out to Caleb Williams. I'm actually cautiously. I did a survey yesterday, right? And I said, how do you feel about where are you at with the Caleb situation? And I think I said, you know, are you excited, optimistic? The bottom one was skeptical, and there was one in between it, right? So it really boiled down to Pareto, what they call Pareto's law. It was basically 80-20. About 16% were skeptical. About 13, you know, kind of fit into that next category, and then it got better from there, right? So about 16%, right? About 16% were in the skeptical space, which, you know what I'm saying, that's the best you can expect right now at this point, right? What I didn't understand, but I understood at the same time, is the people taking, you know, that took their victory laps off of Justin Fields, but are now mad because people are starting to convert over to Caleb Williams as if you have a monopoly on the fan base and people aren't allowed to cheer for their team, right? And again, for me personally, my take was never that Caleb wouldn't be good or Caleb is not good or he's trash. I never talked about the fingernail pointing and dress wearing and stuff like that because I just didn't think it was important. But my take remains the same, that I want to see Shane Waldron's program for developing Caleb, because for the long time in Chicago, the problem right? Even with the previous quarterback, is the development issue. And here it is, yet another scenario, right? I know my boy Yada in the comments, right? My boy Yada in the comments, and he said Caleb would be fine. I'm not passing over that. I'm one about the details of football. I'm not saying he's going to be fine. There's an obvious hole in this game, if you will, on film, and it has to pass the smell test to me. So my concern is, how is Shane going to partner with Caleb, and they're going to put him on a program to develop? Because we use develop as a cliche word all the time in football, especially in Bears football, but nobody can quantify to you what that exactly means. What does it mean to develop? What's the program? Do you give them, what percentage of the playbook are you going to give them weeks 1 through 4 to 6? What percentage of the playbook are you going to give them weeks 6 through 12, or 6 through 10 to 6 to 12, right? And how are you going to progressively overload an NFL offense on him? Because whether you guys want to dismiss it or not, the kid hasn't called elongated NFL style pass calls or play calls. You know what I'm saying? The air raid offense doesn't call for all that. It's very simple play calls. So you have to go out there and go ace right gun, Y off, 3 over, Z fly, shaky, zip, Z is lap, all this stuff. You got to go through that long-elated play calls and stuff for the first time. And watch this. This is something you're not going to see at a pro day. You're not going to experience that at a pro day. Oh, we're just running 9 route right here, right? Also, you have to adjust pass pro. You have to adjust pass pro. Now in the NFL, it's more complex. It's more of that. So how is Shane? What's the program? And I really want to be able to track. Even if he struggled early, I want to be able to track and say, hey, guys, on film for this show, this is where he is. And week over week to be able to show y'all, hey, guys, he's moving along. Now, again, that's what we do on this program. If you don't want that level of detail, I can recommend a bunch of programs to you that don't go into that level of detail. I started to call out some names. You know what I'm saying? But over here, you know what I'm saying? We're going to break down that detail. We're going to get into it. And I want to see the progression because I want to be excited about it. But then also I want to be able to come back to you guys and say, if it happens, this is why. If it's not, this is why not. Or, you know what I'm saying, like we did with Justin. And I highly doubt this is going to be the scenario, but if it's on Shane, I want to put it on Shane, not Caleb, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. So that's the thing. And again, the Cam clip had to do with this. You know what I'm saying? The NFL, because college football is changing, and I have a Coach Carl, I can't think of Carl's last name, but he's a popular, you know what I'm saying, popular college commentator. Let me look it up real fast on X, Twitter, because we're talking in the DMs, trying to set up the date. I have him coming on the program because he's a big-time college football media personality, and we're just trying to lock in the date. Coach Carl Reed, who does his thing on all these various platforms. Fox X1, he spends a lot of time up there with Coach Deion Sanders. He knows the college football landscapes, and one of the questions I want to ask him is, with all the portal stuff, right, with all the NIL stuff, you know what I'm saying, how are we truly expecting these quarterbacks to develop when the default mentality of coaches is, hey, I'm only going to have this player for a year or two, so let me run the easiest thing I can put him in, aka air raid RPO stuff, so I can just win ball games. Because at the end of the day, that's how the coach is getting paid. He got to win, and I don't care who you are. That coach doesn't care about that kid's development. It's going to be incumbent upon the parents to say, hey, and you to really know football. If you desire for your kid to go to the NFL and be a finished product by you get there, you're going to have to choose the right school to send him to so he can develop and go into the right offense so he's prepared for the NFL. So it's going to be critical. I want to ask those questions like from another person, just like I asked Greg, and Greg did. Y'all saw that. Greg didn't necessarily agree per se with my take. I'm because I don't know if he understood the question, but either way, he didn't necessarily agree with the take. So that's fine. But I want to ask him to calm my own nerves. Listen, what should we look forward to out of college quarterbacks coming into league now? Because we're getting more RPO heavy guys, and the transition is hard, and the league is closing the window on them. Used to be 4 or 5 years to develop a guy. Now it's 2.5, 3 years, right? And again, my intent is to document the Caleb experience from a film perspective. Y'all know the platform, Chicago Bears 360, Chicago Bears football from a coach's perspective. We're not moving off that. That's what we do over here, man. And we make no apologies for it. So what I'm going to do right here, we're going to slide a little bit in reverse, and we're going to slide to the DM section and run them DMs. Hit it for me, Julius.
You like some crazy DMs or what?
Very.
Surprises or no?
It's talking like blue check marks?
Yeah, like
people who be sliding, and I'm like, wow, y'all fuck with me like that.
Big J in the building. The producer, Julius, out there doing his things. I'm running comments. What questions y'all got? What comments y'all got? I'm also giving shout outs. Y'all busting these comments wide open. Sorry, Betsy. Did Betsy get a comment for Greg, or was it for me? What would you guys consider successful season? I'd be happy with WC contenders. What am I missing with WC? What am I missing with that? Somebody let me know in the chat. What am I missing? I'll say this. For me, Betsy, I'll say, listen, I'll put it this way, right? I know I'm gonna get the business from both ends on this, right? And I'm okay with that. Part of me says, not Caleb, but this football team, the football team should go to the playoffs. Wild card. I get it. I got it. Wild card. I got it. And then Big Hurt put it in there at the same time. In my heart, if I look at it as a football team, we still, if we get a crazy good edge, right? And maybe I'm concerned about the other edge and another interior defensive lineman, right? And that doesn't have to happen via the draft. But we need another dog on the other side of that defense. I don't think this defense can be as dominant as it should to get us maybe. I don't want just one round and out, right? And a loss. I want at least 2 rounds, because my expectation honestly is the next 2 to 3 years we should win the Super Bowl, right? So I'm kind of on the fence. It has to be something in the playoffs, right? I'll put it that way. Has to be something in the playoffs, right? Wild card exit, second round exit. What I don't want to happen is I don't want us to get like to the championship game, and it's going to sound odd. I don't want us to get to the championship game, because I know kind of how teams kind of take it for granted when you're good too early, too fast. I want them to get a taste of the playoffs and leave just enough hunger in them where they know they have to come back together in the offseason. They know we have to make moves, which in the next draft, we're going to have 8 picks by default. And I believe we can do it. And I said this all along, that I believe we can do it in the 26-27 season. This is 26-27, that we could make a Super Bowl run. So I'm hoping that, we can get a wild card, second round exit, get on out of there, feel the sting of it, feel the pain. Everybody walk up like, bro, I really believe we can do it. The fan base is unified on, like, I really believe we can do it. And then we come back the next year and we smoke them. Run those likes up. Do me a favor. Get the super chat going as well. It's busting. It's open. If you don't do nothing but donate $1, I appreciate it. Shout out to Yada for the $5 super chat. He said support. There you go. Support to help buy a Caleb jersey. There you go, man. I appreciate you, and you know I need it to buy a Caleb jersey. Yeah, I probably listen. Ain't no cap on. I probably get me one at some point. I probably get me one at some point. Just because it is what it is. Yada said, Coach, what's the hole in this game? Give me a specific weakness. It's what I said the whole time. The hole is time on task. The hole is time on task. It's not so much that my concern is not he can't do it. He's done it 25% of his plays. And even with that, right? Even those 25%, Leakin would give him like a quick hitch or something like that. On a few occasions, I don't have a percentage to assign to it. He'll give him something where, and of course, people put those in the highlight reels. He'll give him something where he gets to go 1, 2, 3, ball out. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't disbelieve or not believe that he can do it. I'm saying he hasn't had the time on task, and he needs to prove. If somebody hands you a resume for a job and they say, the resume says, these are the requirements for the job. And they hand you a resume that says, I know you want these requirements or these kind of bullets in the job description. And they hand you the resume that says something totally different. You're going to question fairly, are you qualified for the job? So and it's even better than that in the Caleb scenario. He's done it, but he's done it at a small percentage. Like 20-25% of the time. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to say is that's why I'm focusing on the development part. Can Shane, can Kerry Joseph, can Simo, can all those guys get together and develop and program and say, hey, we're going to give them, because this is important for you guys too as fans, right? Because a lot of y'all are going to be like, well, I know how fickle our fan base is. Well, if he don't come out, he not lighting it up for 350, 375, 4 touchdowns immediately, then he garbage, he trash. I don't think that's the right way to approach this offense. I say take the Matt LaFleur program. We're going to run the ball with both of our running backs. We're going to go 12 plus personnel, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. We're going to play bully ball, dominant ball. We're going to run the ball, and off of play action, I'm going to give Caleb, you know what I'm saying, a little something here, a little bit there, but I'm going to have a program. I'm not going to require him to and put him in positions where he's always in 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 6 plus, right? 3rd and 6 plus, 7 plus, 8 plus. Now, I'm not putting that on the young kid. I'm going to make sure he's at least at 3rd and 4, where the defense has to play honest, right? They have to worry about both the run and the pass. And that's an advantage to the coordinator. So I'm going to do like Matt LaFleur did when Jordan Love played us the first time. That's exactly what he did. I'm going to get you to 3rd and 4, kid, and it's on you from there. If you can't make this 3rd and 4 quick hitch or quick out or quick dig or slant play, then this not for you. This is not for you. You might want to go into the car wash business, right? So that's what I'm looking for them to do. Protect the kid. Right? Slowly ramp him up. And then when he's comfortable with the life of the NFL, leading the team, the calls, the protections, all that goes along with playing a quarterback position instead of just dropping back and throwing the ball. When he's comfortable with 360, right? And says, and you can feel it and you know it. And when you know it, you know it. You be like, hey, you ready? All right, cool. Boom. Then you say, all right, this week, we're gonna let you loose a little bit, kid. It might be against a soft opponent, right? It might be a soft opponent that says, hey, they got a terrible secondary. So hey, we're gonna try and open it up. We're gonna let you open it up a little bit this week. Let's test that arm out. Let's test our new Ferrari out, right? Let's open it up, right? You strategically choose who you decide to go after with versus throwing the kid to the wolves. So that's the program I'm afraid of. I have Bears PTSD when it comes to development, and anything but that program. I feel like we'll be back here again talking about, well, the Bears, Ryan Post made the wrong decision. No, it's not on the kid. It's not on the kid. Did you have a program to develop him? Listen, guys, everybody recognize he has the arm. He has an electric arm. Everybody, if we fail this, it has to be on the organization and the program and the process for development. It has to squat. I'm not putting this on Caleb Williams. Now, Justin Fields stands or the people that's still hanging on to the pain and all will come at my head and be like, no, he was generational. Julius is my witness. I said this was going to happen. This thing was going to invert and I'm going to have people on my head either way. Right. And no, I'm not. I recognize the talent. Now that you're going to be here, make sure the program is right. If I want you to be able to bench press, not Caleb, not this is, but this is an analogy. If I want to be able to bench press 425 by this time next year, I have to be in a program that involves some kind of progressive overload until I get to the place where I can rep out, max out, and achieve my goal. He's not there yet. And that's the biggest part, right? That's the biggest part. So that's my soapbox moment. Do I ever got anything else in the brand chat? I know y'all got a bunch of stuff. Let's get to y'all comment. Shout out to my guy Keith Harris over there at Nomad Network. Keith, I just put a name with your face and realized who is who, bro. Because I couldn't see your face this whole time in this thing. He said the NFL has an evaluation development problem. Until they address it, it will continue to have a revolving door as a quarterback. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. And that's why I said, one, this has kind of helped me resolve the sting of the JF1 situation also as well. You can go back and account for, if you care about the kid, man, you know what I'm saying? This is for all the Justin Fields fan. If you want a point, I'm trying to become more of a optimist. If you want to have something to look at, right? Look at all of the quarterbacks on the second try that kind of worked out. Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Jared Goff, all these other guys. Somebody's going to see the value, right? And this is why I hope Justin sits for a year in Pittsburgh, right? And just get a chance to fall in love with the game again. Get away from all the Chicago stuff. It is what it was, all that good stuff. Get away from it, because the worst thing you want to see is a kid fall out of love with the game because of the situation here. Basically if you don't acknowledge that it was a shit show, then I question your integrity, period. But get away from the game, get to hang out with Russ. Well, I ain't gonna say nothing. Hang out with Russ, get to learn from Russ for a year and a half or so, whatever. And when you get your moment, just be ready. Learn that Arthur Smith offense, which Arthur runs he was one of the higher RPO guys, right? Ironically, in the league. And we were trying to figure out why Luke Getsy wasn't featuring more zone. Well, he tried to call zone read and RPO stuff, but he just used it incorrectly. He had no sequence to it. He didn't set anything up. I could have a full field day about that. What else we got? Who else we got in the chat? I want you to give me some fresh stuff. WC Brent said, didn't know you were a Marine brother. Two for hunting. You know the war cry. Devil dog. Y'all don't know. Two for hunting is German for devil dog. That's right. 1993. My life would never be the same. By the way, my producer is a fellow devil dog too. That's why we rock so heavy. So if y'all ever want to smoke in real life, I promise you, you don't. You really don't. Big Hurt 1989 said the Bears should win 10-11 games this upcoming season, but knowing my luck, the Bears franchise, Bears will win 8 games. Come on, Big Hurt. Come on, man. Give us at least 10, my guy. Give us at least 10. We can hang a 10. Come on. Did anybody? Maybe we'll do this next show, Julius. Let's bring the schedule up on the next show on Tuesday, not Sunday. Maybe you'll do it. Let's do it Tuesday. Let's bring the schedule up and let's start going through it and do a prediction. Also, we're going to start preparing for the draft. I want y'all to know I'm going to be live, but we're going to do a collab show with Chicago Bears Central. Chicago Bears Central on draft night, the first night. I'm trying to line something up with Nomad Networking the second night. But if not, we're going to be on Chicago Bears Central a second night as well. Or I may do Chicago Bears Central nights 1 and 2. And then I gotta say something for my boy, Nomad Network. But I think I honestly, bro, again, it's not about the program. It's not about the players at this point. To me, Ryan Poles has chosen the swing. This is the swing. This is the swing I wanted to avoid. I said I wanted one more year before we swung. But obviously, Ryan felt like Caleb was too good to pass up on, and I'm making my swing now. Now, it's more than one way to skin a cat. We got 4 draft picks this year. We can trade back with the 9, get other assets. There are very good players on the second half of the first round and entering into the second round. I ain't even gonna lie, I like top second round to mid second round talent a lot of times better than I do first round talent or top tier talent. How many of those guys bust year after year? So I feel like Ryan could draft back and we could be a juggernaut if he gets enough picks, the right picks, and then he has guys in rotation, guys in waiting. And what I mean by that is you might get a guy that has to play sparingly behind a Keenan Allen, but look at the benefit of what the young whippersnapper gets to experience. The young jit, right, gets to experience. He gets to experience one of the better route runners in the NFL, and he gets to learn from him, pick his brain, learn from him. And however many years Keenan wants to play, you let him play, and then that guy's ready to take over. That is the, shall I say, dare I say, what Green Bay has done to us for years. They've always had guys in place, and when they get too old and the contract's starting to get stale, rather than overpaying an inflated contract, they say, all right, cool, go ahead and walk on. Little buddy back there been playing behind you. He's next up. He can play, and we won't miss a beat. That's what I wanted to be at that area. So definitely want to take advantage of this. I got to put this up, man. I appreciate that always. Also to my guy Julius, man, we paid the price, man, for a number of years. And I no greater one of the greatest experiences in my life, man. You know what I'm saying? Getting the chance to wear that scarlet and gold, man. But yeah, I think we're gonna be good, man. I think we're gonna be good. Also, one of the things I want to add to the program too. First of all, I want to say this publicly, man. My team. I'm going to do this for my team because we're a new team, but I appreciate them because they commit their time to this right there. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this publicly. So y'all hold me to it. I don't have mine being held to it. My team, that we're going to a game together this year. So we're going to attend the Bears game, and we ain't sitting in no cheap seats either. So we definitely going to do that. We got to link up and decide which one we're going to go to and all that other stuff. And then I didn't know how many people didn't actually attend Bears games. So we got to work something out on the show where we start giving some tickets away on the show. So, but that's going to be subscriber incentive, right? That's going to be subscriber incentive. I think Julie's every 1,000 hit the top number of 1,000. So for example, we hit 4,000. I can scrounge up a couple nickels for a couple coins for a pair of tickets. Right now, y'all tickets, I don't know if they're gonna be good as ours. I'm just gonna keep it a bean with you, but it is what it is. You want to go to the game or not? Every 1,000 or so, I think we could round up some tickets, man, to get you in there. We got anything else for me? I know we about an hour and a half into it. I know y'all love hanging out with your boy, but you know what? I smell some cooking coming from downstairs, and you know what I'm saying? You don't pass up on mama's cooking. What else we got in there? Listen, join us next week, next Thursday. So y'all know how we're doing it. We're talking trash on Sunday. We got a Sunday rant show on Sunday. We talking trash on Sunday. We probably get back into breaking down film and players are headed into the draft Sunday and Tuesday. We might every once in a while have a surprise guest come on, but the Thursday show is Greg Braggs. Here's the lineup because we start kicking off another month. It's April already. Throw that back up, Julius. Who was that? 17. All right, man. 17 says, shout out Coach T for standing on 10. Always, man. Oh man, listen, bro. I take my round. You know what I'm saying? But we got Greg Braggs on the 4th of April, I believe. We got Greg, your boy. Greg is like family, so pardon me if I don't sound so excited for Greg as I do. Lawrence Home joins the show on April 11th, man. April 11th. How excited are you guys for that? That's gonna be crazy. Groundbreaking moment for the show. Who's after that? We got to look at the calendar, but that's the next 2 shows on Thursday. So, you know what I'm saying? Tap in, man. We're doing big things on the channel, man. I'm grateful. I'm appreciative. I'm humble. You know what I'm saying? I don't take it for granted, but that lets you know. And I want to let y'all know, man, this is not no super agent. I got a super agent, you know, reaching out to have these people on the show. These guys actually know about the show. They catch wind of the show. They're catching clips of the show. And when I call, they're like, man, yeah, I want to be on the show. Let's line up the schedule. So they know, you know what I'm saying? And also for you guys looking to get into this game, man, don't think that you got to have, you know what I'm saying, 15, 20,000 followers to have an impact. It's quality over quantity sometimes, man. And if you out here, you got the right spirit, man. You trying to do things with the right motives. Now, y'all know I'm gonna clap back at folks when they warrant it, right? You listen, you know, you come for me, I'm gonna drop them Fifth Ward bees on you, as my boy said the other day. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind giving the Twitter smoke or whatever. I ain't gonna lay down. But we try to keep it, you know what I'm saying? We try to keep it, you know what I'm saying, above board. Now I got my little idiosyncrasies. I got my little things I just don't like that certain people do. I either gonna say it on the show or I'm gonna say it when I see them in their face, and it's gonna be what it is. But either way, man, I appreciate y'all 360ers, man. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out, man. More to come, man. We growing the program. And shout out to my team again. Shout out to J2K. Shout out to Julius, man. And I'm going to see y'all on Sunday, man. So for now, until then, I don't care if you're from a past Bears fan, you just becoming a Bears fan, or you're a future Bears fan, past, present, future, man. We always bear down. So I'll talk to y'all next time, and peace.